So today is January 5th. This auction just ended. I had this book up for sale at $4,000 earlier this year, and the client who sold it on eBay today bought it from me. But I got a lot of slack from people all over Facebook who really don't know what they're talking about. So this video is not to put people down who don't know what they're talking about, but to try to educate, because I constantly see people saying, how do you value this book with this signature? How do you value this book with this signature? And I specialize in high-end signature series, and very rarely does anybody give good advice in terms of how to value a signature. So I wanted to share with you what tools I use, how to value a signature, and to let you know that there's no one standard, hey, a Stanley signature is worth $100 or $200. None of that stuff matters, and I can prove it by just pointing everybody to GPA. All you have to do is look at GPA. Why is this book crazy? This is an Alan Moore book. This is probably the only number 20, 9.8 Alan Moore book signed in the world. Not only that, it's a newsstand. Not only that, it's double signed by John Totalben as well. He was the inside art. Alan Moore was the writer. So I put it up for sale for $4,000. A lot of people were slamming me. Hey, this is a $200 book. That's the direct. And they're saying, okay, even a newsstand's only worth $500. So some people might love Alan Moore, some people might, but they're like, Alan Moore's signature's not worth this, John Romita's not worth that, what was the guy in Batman that died? Neil Adams isn't worth this. There's a tool out there, GPA, which is the best tool for pricing signature series, and you're going to find all the historical sales, not only of a single signature, but a dual signature, a single series, a single signature on a direct, double signature on newsstand. And when people ask a general question like, what is a Stanley signature worth? I usually will tell them you got to look at GPA, because a Stanley signature on an X-Men 1 high grade is a lot different than a Stanley signature on X-Men 1 low grade, or on an X-Men 94 high grade, or whatever. And so how many are out there of that same signature also matters. This is the only Swamp Thing in the world signed by Alan Moore and John Totalben that's a newsstand. That is it. So this is a completely unique piece. He went to one sign event back in 2011, and this was it. And so because it's so rare, because people who love Alan Moore, and this was his famous series of Swamp Thing, so the guy needed cash. The guy I sold to, my client that I sold it to, he needed cash, and I saw him try to sell it through someone on Facebook, and I was like, man, he's getting rid of that book. He just got it from me. And I reached out to him, and he said, yeah, I got bills to pay. And so he put it up here. And at first, I don't know, 6-7 days ago, it was only at $500. And he and I were talking about, well, I'll just buy it from you, and then you can buy it back from me or something like that. But I really didn't know what the demand would be. And I got so much flack last time. And the market has changed for good or bad. We don't know yet. And so I was like, I better not, And so he put it up for sale, and I was bidding on it at a low amount, and then I bid it on a little bit higher, and then I started bidding on it at a higher rate than what I bid on it before, because it's just a glorious, unique book. The colors, even something stupid as the yellow label with the yellow around the fire, it's just a bad book. Even though Tom Yates is really the cover artist, the two signature series have nothing to do with the cover, so that's a totally different beast. But it just ended, $6,099. Add in 6% sales tax, that's 60 times 6. That's about another $400 in tax. Not to mention shipping is $25. So you're looking at a $6,500 book. But so you can't say, oh, an Alan Moore signature is worth $6,000. It doesn't work that way. It's how many, what grade. So a signature on a 3.5 would be different than a signature on a 9.8 as well. So I just put this out there for those who are looking to price signature series. Don't get discouraged if you price it and people start to slam it, because that's what they do. They don't really know the value of signatures. And obviously what you're paying for is Alan Moore's signature. You're paying $5,000 for a little bit of ink scribbled across the front. That's not really what you're paying for, but that's what some people will say. I don't want to pay $5,000 for ink. No, this is a unique piece of art signed by one of the most famous artists of the 1900s, comic book artist. Writer. I consider that an art. And there's no one else is going to get this book, and he'll never sign it again. So this is a very unique piece. Anyways, do GPA, and then you have to do where there's a lot of books that don't have signatures, or there's a book that has a signature but not a dual signature or a 3 signature. You got to learn how to extrapolate. You got to look at the grades below. If you're looking for a grade of a 7.0 on a Silver Surfer number 4 and there's no history, you got to look at the grade below it, a 6.5. You got to look at the grade above, or 7.5. You got to look at how many signature series books are out there. What does the blue label go for? What have been some of the most recent sales? And the harder it is to find data, the harder it is going to be to price your books. When I priced it at $4,000, I was worried that I was pricing it too high. And lo and behold, I totally underpriced it. Anyways, there's a lot of people that love signatures. We know people that don't like signatures, and it doesn't matter. We know people who don't care about newsstand. It doesn't matter. It's just like expensive art. What was that banana? How many millions of dollars did that banana sell for that was held with duct tape? What about that invisible painting that guy did over in Italy and sold it for multiple millions of dollars? No, it was invisible sculpture. So most of us wouldn't pay millions for a banana taped to a wall, but someone does. So don't undervalue your books. These are not commodities. These are unique pieces of art. And if you value your book, someone else will. If you don't value your book, someone else won't. It's just like expensive diamonds. If you have a cheap diamond or cheap cologne, people view it as cheap. It has to be expensive cologne to be good. It has to be an expensive diamond to be good. So anyways, this whole world of signature series is very underdeveloped. There's not a lot of data out there, and people just have no idea how to value signatures, but some signatures are worth a ton. Anyways, happy hunting, guys.